We're going to talk about three cases here right now because they all connect. Karen Reed, Sandra Birchmore. We knew about that. But are you ready for the third? Are you ready for the third one that somehow connects here in this weird, twisted cornucopia of darkness? We're talking about Brian Walsh and Ana Walsh. Ana Walsh is the wife of Brian Walsh. She was murdered on New Year's just a few years ago. I believe it was into 23, 22 into 23. I'm pretty sure
Mhm.
that's when it was. And just went missing. They've never truly found the body. They found a lot of evidence. They found, bloody knives. They found a laundry list of Google searches by her husband. How long before a body starts to smell? How to stop a body from decomposing? 10 ways to dispose of a dead body if you really need to. How long for someone to be missing to inherit? How you can throw away body parts. What does formaldehyde do? These was all before 9:30 a.m. on New Year's Day, uh, in January 1st of 23,
Just
when she went
light
missing.
searches.
Yeah, exactly. Like, who doesn't search for that? It's not hangover cures. It's how can identification be made on partial remains. Um, just crazy stuff. We talked about this case a while ago. He's still facing trial. Guess who the lead investigator and the one of the first persons to the scene was on this case?
Oh my gosh.
Trooper Proctor.
Oh my gosh.
Michael Proctor involved in this one as well. Now, I'm not saying that Michael Proctor set this up or anything like this. I think Brian Walsh has really dug his own grave quite well. But this is a case where you have pretty solid evidence here. But you have a shady officer involved, which that in itself, as we're learning in these other cases, could, that can influence a jury. That can influence a case. It can influence it to the point of someone really bad that murdered their wife gets off because of incompetent police work. Now, I don't know what the police work was like on this, but I gotta say, one officer in a very small town, Stoughton, Massachusetts, to be the crux of three major cases that we're talking about. Robin Dreeke, retired FBI special agent, chief of the counterintelligence behavioral analysis program. Coincidence?
I don't believe in them. There are no coincidences. There really aren't. If you have one event that's a one off, like we say in life arcs and societal arcs and people arcs, maybe it's a one off, but very rarely. But if you got two or three, we got a behavior spike. We have a massive thing. And it's interesting with the people we cover and the cases and the true crime, morons flock together.
Yeah.
These, thank goodness, because people that do the investigations, people that are prosecutors and lawyers and defense attorneys and judges, everyone involved in this process is no smarter or dumber than anyone else. They have a little more training, a little more experience. The one thing that we have in our society that helps law enforcement out, that helps justice out, is that in general, not in every case, but in general, people that do horrendous things to other people are idiots. They're dumb and they do dumb things and they start repeating their behavior. And that's what we definitely have it going on that police department up there. And this is why, again, why that town is so outraged.
Yeah.
Look at the pattern of horrible behavior. Again, whether, like you said, whether this was a righteous investigation, not one, whatever, but just him being involved with it, it's one more taint on him in that department and says, what is going on?
Well, and his defense, Brian Walsh's defense, they're taking full advantage of this. They are now
Sure.
requesting in discovery Proctor's phone. They want all the data on it from this point in time in this investigation because they want to see what's going on based on what they found in the Karen Reed case and what is going to be going on here in the Birchmore case. So they're already trying to attach their boat to this sinking ship to go look, see. But again, it doesn't necessarily because they're connected in this way doesn't in any way mean innocence. But I mean, it could end up, like I was saying, things like this, really improper behavior can end up letting another sinking ship float because the other one went down.
I'm hoping it's gonna sink this ship though, because one thing we've seen with Proctor and the officers, some of the officers in this bad
Hmm.
department, is they say really stupid things on their cell phones,
Yes.
and it's really helped defense, I think. So I'm hopeful that if there was bad deeds done, and boy, you know, if you're looking at behavior patterns here, we see again, we have a very, very small context to him, his background as an investigator, as a police officer. But from what we see, it's more bad behavior than good behavior. So if we actually if think about the sad thing about this is if he did the investigation perfectly right on this, that would be unusual for him from
Yeah,
what we've seen so far.
yeah. What is interesting? Do you remember during the Karen Reed trial and some of the officers, they're talking about how they wiped their phones or just got rid of their phones or threw their phone away on
Yeah.
a military base. And everybody's like, that's really weird that you would do that, especially when you know it's going to be looked at. But the speculation at that time was also, well, I mean, people have other things on their phone other than, things about the case. Maybe they don't want that exposed. Oh, gee, I wonder what might be on their phones when you add Sandra Birchmore into the equation, which we now have learned that both Matthew Farwell, who of course has now been charged with the murder of Sandra Birchmore, but his brother, his twin brother, also having a sexual relationship with Sandra Birchmore right up into her death. He has not been charged with anything as of yet. Farwell, we know, was grooming since the age of 12. I don't think it's that far of a guess or an assumption to make that twin brothers, same age, one of them's having an inappropriate relationship with a minor, and the other starts having the inappropriate relationship, at least as we know, when she was of age. I don't think it's too crazy to think that maybe it was happening underage too. Just, I'm guessing. I don't know.
I'm just thinking that poor girl. I mean,
Yeah.
you start saying these things, and I can be pretty pragmatic about these things when we're looking at human behavior. But man, every time, we both have daughters, and I'm just thinking
Yeah.
about this. Here's this little girl that was trying to get into law enforcement, and these monsters came in and
Yeah.
literally ruined her life, and then took her life. And you have parents that are just, uh
Well,
it bone crushes you.
and then add the school resource officer into the mix, who also,
Yeah.
originally, when they were looking into this years ago, in 21, they deemed his testimony as not credible because he at one point said he did not have any sort of relationship with Sandra Birchmore, and then came back and said, yes, I did have a sexual relationship with her as well. The school fucking resource officer. Um, this is maddening. I mean, it seems like this department, these officers, literally took a child from the police explorers program and made her into like their de facto prostitute. Or I don't know what to even call it. This is insane.
Who
And
else?
for it all to be going around and nobody knowing this and nobody any wiser, nobody speaking up, going, this is really twisted over here. Either they really had this under wraps and only like these three people knew this was going on, or you have a group of people who are like, I don't want anything to do with this. I'm gonna look the other way. I mean, what the hell do you think was happening here in this department for this amount of people to be like, I don't know anything about that, and let's not expose behavior like this.
A lot of fear. They instilled a lot of fear in people around them. This department, these people inside the
Yeah,
department that were doing it. There's a lot of fear. Remember, fear is the motivator for people to not do the righteous things, and people go into survival mode when they feel threatened, and the people in their lives feel threatened, and that's why this community has stepped up like it did, and they're screaming loud
yeah.
because whether they knew the details or not, they got a real sense of it because I mean, you can see and you can feel the energy in places is very tangible. I won't get into the woo of the world and the quantum mechanics and all that, but you can really sense dark places sometimes.
Mhm.
And I got to feel in that town sense some real darkness around these people because when people start acting off, when they start acting shady, when they do, and those are the human behaviors behind that dark feeling. There's a lot of leakage, I think, that was going on, and I think there's just a lot of fear. Boy, this is one of those rare cases that whole place just needs to deconstructed and reconstructed from the ground up again.
And you look at it on the surface, it's a small town, it's kind of, folksy and all, and it's like, what's going on behind closed doors here with those
Yeah,
in power? A lot. And that's just this is the town that's being exposed. A lot of towns that have this shit really tight and buckled down. They did too for quite a while. It does make you wonder, how common is this stuff in other small municipalities where everybody's got each other's back no matter what?
luckily, so I'm the glass half full kind of
Yeah.
guy, and also from the cases we look at. remember, dumb people. I mean, criminals do dumb things, and they're pretty stupid. And the more people you have involved, the more leakage you get, and more potential for discovery.
Yeah.
We are seeing a lot of. I mean, we've covered some cases where it's the law enforcement side that has really been abhorrent. And as bad as that is, I don't think for a lot of cases you see, if you see one thing, that means there's 10 other things you're not seeing. I don't know if it's the same in these cases, just because, again, for cover ups to happen, you really need a lot of people on board and a lot of fear. I'm still the glass half full that, there might be a couple more out there, but I think because of the information access we have today, the social media, word of mouth, all these things, if they're not discovered already, they will be.
Yeah.
So, and by and large, because it's really important for people to have the trust and faith in our institutions and
Yeah.
organizations, because that's how societies function. I still have a lot of positive thoughts and feelings towards the vast majority of people. And do we have anomalies like this that poke up now and then? Yep, because when you get one bad egg in there and they have an amazing psychopathy about them and a manipulation
Manipulative?
manip, there you go, streak in them that has the ability to really take advantage of others, and they have at least a cohort of a couple more that can be their lieutenants after them. That's where it gets a little dangerous. But I don't think it's as widespread as people might fear.
I'm gonna end on that because I think it's good to leave it on a glass half full because the other way is just too dark.
Yeah, half full. You got to have faith, half full,
Yeah.
because human beings want to do right. They want to have good
Hmm.
lives. They want to have justice. They want to have safety. And we do have bad eggs out there, and bad eggs sometimes get in positions of influence and power. But luckily, the good outweighs the bad. It really does. The good people in the world do outweigh the bad people in the world,
Hmm.
whether it's by intent or by accident. It does happen that way. So I got faith.
Hey, thanks for checking out the video. Be sure to follow us wherever you download podcasts, and especially Apple Podcasts, where you can get advanced episode and premium content on our premium channel right there. Also, be sure to follow us on social media so you don't miss any breaking updates on the stories that matter to you most. We're on TikTok, X, Instagram, Facebook. Just search Hidden Killers Podcast with Tony Bruschi, and you'll find us right there. Again, thanks for watching.